Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the NBA slate for Tuesday. We have a nice 6-game slate. Yesterday's slate was pretty wild in terms of all the news that we got late in the day. Like that 6 to 7 hour was pretty insane. But it ended up cashing on DraftKings, put up 325. A couple of the guys stuck with from the video: Jordan Poole, Brandon Williams, great values. Poole started off really slow, but he came through late. Williams was good, even though they lost by like 40 plus, I believe. And then made some updates without LeBron, got to Malik Monk. But overall, good day on DraftKings, missed on FanDuel. See what we can bring tonight. As always, if you enjoy the content, appreciate it for the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out the website. You can check out Discord if you're into sports betting. You can check out Twitter, and all that stuff is in the description. Prize Picks, use my code if you want some free money there. And let's get started. So, point guard picks today. These guys on the Warriors have the out tag. They haven't updated yet, but they should be back. They sat on the front end of a back-to-back yesterday in Denver. It was a pretty close game, even though they were missing those guys, so at least it was entertaining enough. Jokic went crazy once again, and he was super low owned yesterday. But point guard picks, not looking at really Curry, even if he does, he should play at 11K. His price tag is really expensive. Ja Morant's coming off of one of his worst games of the season. 7 of 20 shooting, turned the ball over a couple times, and they ended up losing to the Houston Rockets. He was actually getting stopped by Christian Wood at the rim. He played really good defensively. I like SGA more than Ja Morant today. SGA is playing without Josh Giddey, has looked really good, just over 60s, 3 out of 5 games, plays big minutes. He's going up against a fast-paced Milwaukee team, so another good spot for him to continue doing what he's doing. Last game, didn't even make a three-pointer, but he still put up 33 real life points, getting to the free throw line. Go ahead and put him in. There's not a ton of superstars besides Giannis, like Durant, SGA on the slate. If you want to play Morant, you can, but 10-7 is also a pretty high price tag. Then only other guy above 10K is Kyrie, so it's not like we have Jokic on the slate, Embiid, all those other guys. But for my first guy above 10K, it's going to be SGA. In the 9K range, CJ is pretty expensive. That's going to be tough to get to. I'd rather get to Darius Garland, but his price tag has also come up. You can look to LaMelo Ball at 87. Not looking at Halliburton much or Reggie Jackson. Both of their price tags have skyrocketed, and Brogdon is back, so that's going to hurt Halliburton's ceiling a little bit. Bottom end of 8K, you have Terry Rozier, who's been playing great without Gordon Hayward. Hits a lot of his shots, lots of his threes from him, and he has been better in contributing with peripherals, rebounds, and assists. So I don't mind getting to him at 82. I think everybody still likes to get to LaMelo Ball over Rozier, even though Rozier has been just as good, if not better, than LaMelo Ball for fantasy recently. 78, you can definitely go Brogdon. He's $1,000 cheaper than Halliburton. He's been pretty consistent getting to the basket. Sometimes his three-pointers haven't been falling, but still on the season, 32%. It's been better since he's been back. It does give you a high ceiling. Cole Anthony, 68. He looks okay, but I'd rather get to Campaign at only 53. Price tag hasn't moved really much on him, even though he's playing a lot of minutes. He went from 43, 48 to 53. I still think he should be high 5K or low 6K range, if not $6,400, $6,500. They're still very limited without Cam Johnson, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Campaign has really benefited by getting a lot of assists during that stretch, taking 15 to 20 shots the last couple of games, and his minutes limit is completely gone. He got up to 36 last game, so it looks really, really good today against a poor Orlando team defensively, the team that will turn the ball over, and it can be a high-scoring game. Other guys would be maybe Fultz at 43, depending on the Jalen Suggs news. He's still been limited with the minutes. Hasn't gone up to 20 yet, so it's still a little bit risky, but we'll have to wait and see on Jalen Suggs news. And then at the bottom end, you have Aaron Holiday at 4K, who comes off the bench, but he's playing around 15 to 20 minutes, spelling Campaign and spelling Landry Shamet a bit. Over at shooting guard, we have Kyrie at 10K. It's going to be tough for me to get to him. It's a good matchup against Charlotte, but Durant is back. Kyrie still, that price tag is just too expensive. I wasn't really playing him even without Kyrie. Even without Harden and Durant when Harden was with the team earlier, when he was just by himself. So I don't really see myself playing him now that Kevin Durant is back and hasn't even been limited since he's been back. There are some good value picks here. Going further down with Desmond Bane. He's finally come alive after was in one of his worst stretches shooting the ball here, 27, 22, 33, 27%. Struggling with a shot the last couple of games. He's looked like himself, shooting 50% and 67%, putting up the fantasy points, carrying the team offensively. He was the only guy that could hit threes for the Grizzlies last game against Houston. It didn't matter because they lost anyway. But I do like Desmond Bane at that price tag at 65. You have Bridges, who was just running around the first half of the game against Milwaukee. Finished with 26 fantasy points, but he had like nothing heading into halftime. So at least had a much better second half. He still looks good at this price tag without those other guys, all the other stars besides like DeAndre Ayton on the team. So I like Bridges. And then you have Cedi Osman at 45. He should be probably starting. Got up to 32 minutes last game. Good value, but sometimes we see Cedi Osman's chalk not really work out. But there is no Jared Allen for, just another guy on a long list of injuries for the Cavs this year. They've been able to survive them. Hopefully they were able to survive Jared Allen, missing at least a couple of weeks. But don't mind Osman as a value pick. But I'm going to go ahead and put in Landry Shamet. I think it's the better pick value-wise. Got up to 34 minutes. Former Sixer, can get hot from three. He has made a couple of threes last couple of games, and getting more minutes now that, especially that they don't have Cam Johnson. Previous couple of games against the Knicks in Portland, they had Cam Johnson, who was great off the bench and playing a lot of minutes. So I've been looking at least 32 to 34 minutes from Landry Shamet. Can get you a couple of peripherals, but really he's going to be reliant on his shot. But the price tag is cheap enough to where I feel good about it, even though he's really scoring dependent. Small forward Kevin Durant is up to 11-1. Does give you upside here. You can play him if you wanted to, but I think I'm going to go with a value pick here. Like Desmond Bane at 65. Plug him in. Wait and see on these OKC guys. Even if Dort plays, he's missed a good amount of time. I'm not sure how many minutes he'll play. But Bridges looks good at 62. Definitely can go with Pokuevsky if those guys are still out. Continues to play well, especially if there's no Roby. More minutes for him at the 4 and 5. Osman at 45 looks like a good value. Then Jay Crowder also looks good just because I'm going to be looking at 30, 35 minutes from him. He does give you some peripherals with rebounding. Has been shooting a good percentage from three this year, 35%. As of late, it's been better. Last 10 days, he's shooting 45% in his last 5 games. So he has been shooting the ball well. The price tag is good enough, and the matchup is great against Orlando. There's no Grayson Allen, who's out, so you're probably going to see them maybe start like Jordan Nwora at move like Chris Middleton to the 2 and start Nwora at the 3. If that's the case, at $3,100 against OKC, he looks like a really, really good value pick. They still like to play a lot of guys, so he's not like a lock, but 31, barely above min price. He looks like a good value. Over at power forward, you have Giannis at 12K. Should be able to destroy this OKC team. He is going to be the best spend up on the slate. Only concern you have is if the game is close. I do think it can be close with the way SGA has been playing. So I don't mind getting to Giannis, but there are some other picks that you can look to at the position. Value-wise, you have this guy continues to frustrate people with the fouls, but Jaren Jackson only played 12 minutes last game because he got 5 fouls in those 12 minutes. He looks like a good GPP play, but sometimes he's tough to trust in especially cash games. Jay Crowder at 51. Definitely think you can go to him as just a value pick. And then going further down in the 3K range, where I'd look to like maybe Batum, or definitely you can look to Nwora at 31. Over at center, you have Giannis at 12K. There's nobody else even closely priced to him at the 4 and 5. Next guy is Wendell Carter at 77. But I'll go ahead and put in DeAndre Ayton. Finally came alive offensively last game against the Bucks. We've been waiting for him to have a good offensive game since they've been missing Booker and Chris Paul. He's had a couple of 20-point games recently, but he still hasn't had like a big monster rebounding game. Been kind of like at 8, has been his ceiling. But the price tag is really good at 66. He only went up $300 going up against the Magic. They play big front court, so you should expect good minutes from Ayton, looking at least like 32 to 34. They still have like McGee and guys that they can spell him with, but the price tag is really good enough. And I want to get to at least 3 or 4 of these Phoenix guys, especially Ayton, Payne, and Shamet are probably my favorites based on the price tags. And then I'll be looking at Crowder and Bridges as my 4th and 5th options. And then last guy I'm going to plug in, we know that Milwaukee is a little bit shorthanded with the guards with no Allen. And a guy that's been playing really well for them has been Jrue Holiday. Price tag is really good at 76. He's been shooting the 3 really well recently. Made 80%, 50%, 38%, 63%. In his last 5 games, he's shooting over 50% from distance, 50% from the floor. He's been red hot for the team, and you're just seeing a lot of fantasy points from him, especially against this team that does turn the ball over. Can rack up some steals, maybe get you a double-double with assists, and he's been good with the rebounding. And you're looking at like 38 minutes has looked really good if the games are close, just because they don't have too many other guys that they want to give a lot of minutes to at the guard position. So the way the Holiday's been playing at this price tag against this matchup, you can look at another 50-point game out of him, and I don't think he'll be super popular. So that's it for DraftKings. Let's go over to FanDuel. All right, on FanDuel, I have the 5 guys on the screen, but we'll talk through the positions. Still like SGA at 10-6. You have John Morant, $800 cheaper. You can make a case for that, but probably still prefer SGA. Holiday's a little bit too expensive, I think, at $9K. And not unplayable, but he looks a lot better on DraftKings at like 76. You have a couple of other guys that look better price-wise, like Garland at only 8,000, LaMelo Ball at 78. Ball is cheaper than Rozier on FanDuel, so I would lean Ball. And then you have Campaign, plug him in at shooting guard, which is a great thing to do. Plug in a point guard at the shooting guard position. It lets you play 3 point guards instead, who they do give you more upside than most shooting guards just because they get you a lot of assists. And then at the bottom end, you have like, I'm not going to be looking at Martin or Holiday much here. So that's kind of it. Maybe Fultz at 39 as a GPP play, or like Hampton at 38 if Suggs is out again. At shooting guard, like SGA, not looking at Kyrie much. 8K, I love Garland at 8,000. $6,600 Campaign is going to be the guy I plug in though. And then you have 6,000 for Cole Anthony. Looks really good. And then Shamet is 51, so he's going to be tougher to get to. Like at that price tag, you'll probably need him to hit a lot of his shots and also contribute with some defensive stats or get you some rebounds or assists. Whereas on DraftKings, he just kind of needs to score. Small forward, Giannis looks great. You have Durant at only 10-3. He also looks super appealing if you wanted to pay up for Durant. I would probably prefer Durant over Giannis, saving $1,600. But you also have Desmond Bane as a good value pick here. At 62, you can go Crowder if you wanted to at 61. Bridges at only 58 looks appealing. And then those are the main pieces. We can look to Osman at 47 as a value pick, and then Noor at 4K also. Power forward, like Giannis, like Durant. In the mid-range, you have 61 for Jaren Jackson. He's super frustrating with that price tag. It's really appealing. If you don't want to play him, you can go down to Crowder or Pokuveski. He's been playing great, especially if Roby continues to, or if Roby is out for the second straight day. And Osman is like the only other guy. And then maybe you can look to like Hayes, or definitely you can look to Noora if he's starting. At center, Mobley is your most expensive guy. Not too many. You have like no spend ups here. So give me $7,300 Ayton, a guy that gives you 50-point ceiling, probably like a 40-point, somewhat like he's probably going to get like a 40-point floor. If he is playing well like he did last game. Expecting him to continue to play good minutes here, 32 to 35. Great matchup against Orlando, and the price tag is better on DraftKings, but still, there's not too many great center plays. You got like Zubac 73, Carter at 76. Nobody looks that appealing here. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I will see you all next time.